Crumblers, welcome back to Crumble Mumble, the podcast. We are so excited to have you here, and today we have our first guest of the season. Today we are talking to Jason McGowan. He is the CEO and co-founder of Crumbl. So when you think of Crumbl and everything it's become today, we are talking to one of the two men who started it, Jason McGowan. So Jason, will you start off by just telling us like a little bit about yourself, where you came from, what you were doing before Crumbl, like how did you get here?
Great question. Thanks for having me today and having me on the podcast.
Oh, of course.
So I actually came from a technology background. So no baking experience, no restaurant experience, like none of that, right? And
love it.
So I came from doing technology, and I've always loved building things. And so I worked for Ancestry. I helped do stuff for Nintendo, and all kind of in the technology field. So that's kind of like my work background is in project management, technology, that sort of thing. A little bit about my family. I've got 7 kids.
Whew, 7.
Five girls and 2 boys.
Cute.
So it's a lot of fun in the McGowan household, and a lot of craziness for me and my wife. My wife is Whitney, and she's the most amazing person out there. So she's really supportive of everything I've done, and that's my family. That's a little bit about my work.
Dang. So when you guys have cookies for like family time, you probably have to get a party pack.
Yeah,
every
we do.
time
We do.
with that many kids. That's amazing.
We do. And I used to bring cookies home like almost every single day. And finally my wife turned to me and says, honey, we can't be doing this. We can't have cookies every single day with these kids. So especially in the early days when we're just, making all these flavors and bringing them home, and the kids are just like, Dad, when are you going to bring more Crumbl cookies home? But you can't bring them home every day, but we do take them every single week still. So
love it, as you have to, right?
Yes.
The menu is different every single week.
Yes.
Okay, so with all the new flavors you were just talking about, right? You're referring to when Crumbl was just starting out. Crumbl is huge now, right? Obviously, you of all people know that. Everyone knows that. It's become an iconic brand, which we all love. So how, was that always your plan? How did Crumbl become what it is, I guess? I think a lot of people want to know the inside scoop, right? Where when you started this, did you see it getting to this point?
We never really did. Some people, when they come and they talk to me, they're like, how is this your master plan and all this franchising and all these things that you've done? This must have been an amazing plan that you had. And I'm like, it was not a plan at all. One interesting fact about Crumbl is the very first location that we had, we chose it. One of the reasons was because the lease was going to end in 6 months and the building was going to be demolished. And so we thought, if this whole thing doesn't work, then we're not stuck on a lease for 5 years and it's just going to be totally fine.
Yeah.
And,
no risk.
And then when we got started, we're like, okay, we're going to have these cookies. It's going to be a great experience. Well, we didn't really know how to bake either. So we're like, this is a problem. Sawyer and I love food. We love treats. We love all those different things, and our families love those things. And so we knew we wanted to do cookies, but the reality kind of hit us pretty quickly when we're like, we didn't know how to bake. We don't know how to do any of these things. So when we launched our very first location, we only had enough time to develop just one cookie, the chocolate chip cookie.
Dang, okay.
So we opened our first store in a building that was set to be demolished in 6 months, and we had one cookie, the chocolate chip cookie.
And no baking experience.
To
build off of.
And we're like, let's open the door.
And
so we opened the door, and this old man came in, and he came across the counter, and he looked at me, and he's like, I'll take a 4-pack. And I'm like, people are going to pay for this. This is amazing.
This is going to work.
And so just all that hard sweat and tears and energy. And I think we learned something really important, which was product quality. Focus on making the most best thing you can when you make it. And really for us was like, we don't have time to make all these things. We have time to make the perfect chocolate chip cookie and the world's best, and that's what we did. We just launched with one cookie. So.
I freaking love it, and we've talked about this a few times because I've been at Crumbl for a little while, about how you guys made that recipe and how you A/B tested with people, right? It wasn't just you and Sawyer came up with whatever you thought was the best. You literally took it to the people.
Well, we did,
and got their opinion.
Because we didn't know how to bake, it kind of humbled us, right? We're like, oh, how hard is it to make a chocolate chip cookie or any cookies? And it turns out you can just make a cookie, but making the perfect cookie, we went out to gas stations, to family members, just randomly. And I think people were like, who are these guys with these plates of cookies?
What's in these cookies?
So what we would do is we'd take 2 cookies and we'd change out one ingredient, right? And we'd have them taste test both of them. And we'd say, okay, which cookies is better? And so we kind of taste tested our way to find this perfect chocolate chip cookie. And even the most controversial decision, and I think it's still controversial today, was should it be milk chocolate chip or should it be semi-sweet?
Yep.
Now, I'm a huge semi-sweet fan. I love semi-sweet. So those in the podcast that love semi-sweet, I'm with you. I feel you. And Sawyer's a huge milk chocolate chip fan. And so we were arguing about this one day, and we're like, no, it's got to be semi-sweet. We went over all these different things, and we said, you know what? We're going to do a poll on Twitter, and then we're going to taste test it like we've done everything else. We're going to just round it out. Let's just complete it and just do what the audience wants. So we did a poll. 70% preferred
70
milk chocolate chip.
Dang, okay.
Over semi-sweet.
Okay.
And so, and then of course the taste test won it as well. And so we did that. And of course, years later, I'm like, that was way long ago. Let's try it again. So we'd like launch the cookie, have sales. Milk always beats semi-sweet. Always. So you know what? I've relinquished, but every once in a while, we're gonna get those semi-sweet lovers a cookie every once in a while.
Yeah,
So,
love that. Well, way to go as a CEO who could just say, we're doing semi-sweet. We appreciate you listening to the people.
Hey,
right?
thanks. You know, there had been one time when I said, you know what? I don't care about anything. We're just doing this cookie. And it was the bubblegum cookie. And it was a flop. It was just like, no one bought it. They're like, what's this bubblegum thing? My daughter's like, Dad, you got to do this. And I'm like, we're doing it. And it's like, we won't do that again. So just another lesson learned is like, you know, just focus on the people and your customers and your experiences. And just, you know, I'm wrong a lot of times, but it's important when you're wrong just to admit it, move on, and keep moving forward. So
that's awesome. And I think that shows through Crumbl and its culture, right? I want to talk a little bit about the mission statement. I think that's something that is so central to Crumbl and everything that we do, everything you do, everything about the culture here, you know, at HQ, but then also in the brand as a whole. So how did you come up with the mission statement?
That's a great question. So on our very first location, of course, we were just going to close in 6 months, so we didn't have a mission statement at that time.
You were like, we just got to get
make
through
awesome cookies,
6
right?
months. Yeah.
But when on the very first day that it opened, and I was sitting there across the counter, and I had my pink shirt on, and I was just like super excited about, you know, opening number one day, and you have those nerves, are people going to come, and all these people just started coming in droves, and I noticed that my family had come in, and my kids were there, and my wife was there, and they were just looking at me, and they were just so proud, and they were so excited, and my daughter, she looks at me and she says, "Dad, you own a cookie store." And she was just so excited. I'm like, I've done all these other big things before. Like, they could care less. Like, oh, you did stuff in Nintendo, who cares? Or you did this stuff before, who cares? But they were really, really excited about this cookie store. And it really, really made me think about bringing families together and, like, importance. You know, as in a career, whenever you do something, a lot of people like to just do something that matters, right? They want to provide a good into the world. They want to, like, look back on their life and say, you know, we did something meaningful. And I think that day, as I saw my kids there, and I saw my family, and I saw my business partner Sawyer, it was all about family, and it's about bringing people together. And I realized that cookies could actually be a really meaningful life career, and also cookies could bring people together. In a world of just distractions through social media and all these things going on, you know, we're not going to cure this whole world, but there is a moment where you can say, I'm going to step away from all that craziness, and I'm going to bring my friends together and enjoy some cookies and laugh or cry when they've had a hard experience. And so for us, our mission statement is to bring friends and family together over a box of the best cookies in the world. And so we have the best cookies in the world, but we never forget that cookies do so much more than just, you know, satisfy your taste buds. It's about bringing those people together. So the large size of them, meaning them to be shareable and those things. So we've done things all throughout our culture and our company to really emphasize that mission statement, to say that's what it's really about bringing people together too.
Yeah, totally. Because I mean, I personally, before I even came to Crumbl to work at Crumbl, there's Crumbl at everything, at birthday parties, right, at events like similar to that, and then also I've seen people send cookies when a loved one dies, right, as like condolences, and it is this vehicle for connection that I think is so powerful, and that, you know, someone on paper might be like, oh, cookies are cookies, right? They don't give it the credit that you've given it, and you've built it into this amazing thing where not only do people, you know, bring them to events, but you can send them to people. Right? You just through the app, which, I mean, the whole tech side of Crumbl is a whole other aspect, but the app is so easy to use. You can send Crumbl so easily to people.
You can add a video to it.
You can add a video, a personalized video.
All that stuff to really make it that, like, meaningful, like, that connection. The world needs more connection.
Yes.
It really does. It needs more people just getting together and spending time with
Exactly. And I know that was also huge during the pandemic.
Yeah.
When people couldn't see each other.
Yeah.
You couldn't see your loved one, you send them a box of cookies, right? With a message
Absolutely.
or a video or whatever it was. And I know that you guys hopped on that really quickly to be able to make that possible for people. And as far as, curbside pickup or sending
Yep.
the videos or whatever it was, I know that you guys made that a priority. And I think a lot of people really appreciated that. Because
that's great.
it was a rough time, right?
It
For all of
was.
us.
It
Still
really
kind of
was.
is, still lingering, right?
It
The
is.
pandemic, but
Yeah, no, and it's
Yeah.
just, it's fun to start seeing people going out and going on vacations and being with
Mm-hmm.
their family more and all those kinds of things. So, yeah, and we're just so happy that Crumble can be a very small part of that experience for
yeah,
people. So,
totally. So with the customers of Crumble, what is one of your favorite things about the customers? We have a very diverse consumer base.
Yes, we do.
We've got, all ages, all genders, all phases of life. What is something you've loved to see about the customers of Crumble?
I love our customers so much. I love their creativity. Now, we talked about chocolate chips earlier, about how they are part of helping us do it. But even today, we have customers that send us in flavor ideas and send all those things in. And I think most brands or companies would be like, oh, cool, that's great, they had an idea. We actually look at those things. We make cookies based on those ideas. And in addition to that, they're always rating the cookies, right?
Yes, yes.
And you'll have someone be like, this cookie's a 10 out of 10, right? Dirt cake, it's 10 out of 10. And you have someone come along and be like, 2 out of 10, too much chocolate, right?
Yes,
So you have
yes.
these diversity, but they're in it. So they're very forgiving when we make mistakes. They're very passionate about the taste profiles that we have or the different flavor profiles. So really for us, I just love engaging with customers.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think other people look at us and these guys are even creepy. We're engaged so much, right? If you're on TikTok or you're on Instagram or even Reddit, I love Reddit people. They're so authentic and honest and direct. But anyways, you got Facebook groups, you got all these different groups of individuals who are really in it, and we're in there all and just conversations and having conversations. And I think a lot of people sometimes can be like, wow, that seems crazy, but it's because we actually care.
Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that we've said in the past is we'd always say, what location is this? The
Yes.
customers are like, you guys are crazy. You're going to go after these people. You guys are too much, right?
Yeah.
But it's we care, right? We actually care, where that happened, how can we make changes? How can we fix things? And how can we be better? We're just a company that really puts the customer first. And not just putting them first as in taking care of them, but they're integrated into everything that we do. And so we
Yes.
are really, really passionate. And they're really, really forgiving when we make mistakes, or
Yes.
maybe we're a little
Thankfully.
overbearing when we say what location is it from. But we really do. We love our customers, and we love
Yeah.
everything that they've done to bring us here. Because it's not just hey, here's corporate, here's what we've done, and here's what the franchise partners have done. It's really that the customers have stuck through us, through those
Yes.
mistakes and those learnings, and they've celebrated through popular cookies and experiences. So we really feel a connection and a love and a loyalty to our customers. And we receive that back when we see them coming back week after week after week.
Totally, yeah. And I've loved seeing how Crumble kind of has this very strong fanship for the brand. But then some of our individual cookies have an even stronger fanship, right?
Yes.
It's I love Crumble, but I love the Oreo cookie more than I love
Yes.
Crumble, right?
Yes, and
Which
we
has
learned
been
that when we
cool.
took away pink sugar for a little time.
Yes.
Right?
Oh my gosh,
There's
yes.
we're still alive to tell
Yeah.
the tale, but yeah, you're right. There's just that passion, that love for individual cookies.
Which
and
is so cool to
experiences.
see.
It is really
so
cool.
cool to see. So,
is.
speaking of people's fanship for cookies, what is your favorite cookie flavor?
Right now, it's the Kentucky butter cake.
Yes,
The
that
silk
one's so
pie is kind of creeping a little bit on that because I had that a few weeks ago and it was just amazing. So I
Yeah.
love those are kind of my top two right now. Of course, I love our classic chocolate chip. Who doesn't?
Oh, it's assumed.
We
Yeah.
added a few semi-sweets in there, be a little bit better. But
Just throw in a couple.
yeah, exactly. When Sawyer and the R&D team's not looking, I'm just going to throw a few semi-sweet chips in there. But yeah, those are kind of my top cookies right now.
Love
So,
it.
I say
Okay,
right now because
that's
they're always
great.
coming out with better flavors, new flavors, and so you never know if those are going to remain on top. But
It's true. I know. You got to grab them while they're there.
Yeah.
So awesome. Well, thank you, Jason, for taking time today. I'm sure people have loved hearing straight from you, one of the two people who started Crumble from the ground. So thank you for being here. And yeah, we will see you guys on our next episode. Bye.
bye, thank you.